Well, hi, welcome to Senior Travel Adventures. I'm Debbie. I'm so excited to have this show and share all these fun things. We talk about travel tips, tricks, safety, and then we share our trips with each other where I bring in different guests and they talk about the great travels that they've taken. And then we have our segment in our backyard where I talk about travel locally and in the state of California. So thank you for joining me today and stay tuned.
Seniors fear running out of money more than death itself. And the number one mistake you can make is underestimating volatility, which can derail your retirement. For 35 years now, I've coached seniors to financial independence by using two simple rules. Never take big losses and create income along the way. It's your financial future. Call now to get a free risk analysis to ensure your investments are protected, and we'll send you our Safer Money System. 949-219-0692.
Well, welcome back to Senior Travel Adventures. I'm super excited today because with me is Bunny Carpenter, and I'm sure most of you know her. And she has just returned from a 4.5-month world cruise on Viking, and it looks amazing. So Bunny, thank you for joining me today and sharing this adventure with all of us. That's quite a long time to be gone from home.
Yes, it is, but it was enjoyable every bit of the way.
Oh, good, good. And you started in Florida and ended in London,
right.
But you went to a lot of places in between. How many countries, do you know?
How many countries? Let's see, I have to count.
Yeah, like, I think it must be a lot, because I'm looking at the map here, and
right.
and it's quite a bit, and that's cool. They give you a little certificate. That's neat. So we're going to show some pictures to the audience and share Bunny's adventures. So this is the Panama Canal, right?
Yes, it is, and that is amazing. I couldn't believe the engineering that went into it, and you really can't imagine how extraordinary it is until you see it. Because if you look at the picture, you can see the water, is at different levels. So in order for the boats to go through the canal, they have to open up the gates there, and then they have to lower the level of water so that the ships can go through. So I think the next picture will probably show when it's going through the canal there. And it took us about a full day.
To go through?
To actually go through.
So, I just came back from the Rhine River cruise, and we went through 13 locks, but our ship was not anywhere close to the size of this, and nor were the locks the size of that. That's crazy.
I was really amazed to hear about the engineering and how long it took actually to build the Panama Canal, because it was over 10 years.
So if it took that long, so that means that all these like freighters and everything, it takes a long time to get through the Panama Canal, obviously illustrating how important the Panama Canal is to the world to be able to go through this lock. So that's cool. So let's see what we've got. That's really neat. Oh, wow, that looks cool. What's that?
Actually, it's a tree that has the trunk of it is like an elephant's tree. And I thought it was something a little extraordinary because, as you can see there, they have skeletons there. Mm-hmm. And so the natives come and put the skeletons in there for spiritual, to be able to protect their ancestries after they have passed away.
Okay.
But the tree itself, this doesn't really do it justice. The tree itself is huge.
Well, I'm just imagining if that's the size of a human skull, that tree has to be just gigantic. All right. So okay. Well, he looks cute. What's it?
I just had to take a picture of him, and this was at one of the reserves in Africa, and he was just sitting there watching us eat. Where you can get food. That's what he was looking for.
Was he like out in the open, and you could?
We were sitting there eating lunch.
Okay. And he was right there waiting. He was having lunch with you.
He was having a great time, just watching us. Yep.
All right, and oh my, well, I don't think I'd want him. I think you would be his lunch. So tell me about him.
Well, at the reserve, they have a huge, big alligator pond, and so this was just one of them. There are hundreds, I think, in the lake.
This was in Africa, right?
This was in Africa.
Okay, all right.
And they look like
Oh, look at them.
zebras are one of my favorites, and they're one of my favorites to photograph, because they're such contrast.
Right. And you
But-
like to take a lot of pictures, so these are just a few of Bunny's many pictures. But they're beautiful animals. They're just so beautiful. And black and white's my favorite color combination, so I really like them. So that's very cool. Do you know how many they had? How many zebras they had?
No, and we went through 2 reserves, and one of the reserves we actually had to go around and look for the animals.
Oh, wow.
And I have to tell you about that ride, because we were in a 4x4. Okay, there was 9 people. And I'm telling you, we were going up and down, and I felt like we were on Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, from Disneyland, searching for them. But you actually have to go and search for the animals so that you can see them.
Okay, all right.
It was a fun ride.
Yeah, I'll bet. It was like a Disneyland ride.
Yeah.
This guy looks kind of cute, but also he could probably hurt us with those horns.
Well, you have to remember, these are all wild animals, and I was really happy to hear about the efforts, of Africa to try to protect the animals.
Right. There's a huge effort, I understand.
They don't get to go out and hunt them like they used to. The lions were actually in a separate section, so we couldn't go and see them.
Oh.
But there is a really big effort, to be able to
Preserve
preserve the animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, those some rhinos. They're big, right?
Huge, yes.
I can't even imagine, but I'm thinking that shrub, and I'm trying to just assess how big based on the tree. Oh my gosh, probably like bigger than a truck. Wow.
I believe they are as big as a truck, almost a small truck. Let's put it that way.
A small truck. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I like them too. Giraffes are very beautiful.
I can't help myself. I like taking pictures of giraffes. So I have lots of pictures of giraffes, and they just seem to be so calm and
We could learn something from the calmness of giraffes, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So this is fairly close up. So was he was just out like you were in the truck or taking this picture?
We were in a truck, but
Yeah.
we were at least 100 feet away.
Okay, okay.
Because I just try to bring them up close so you could actually see
Right,
the features.
Yeah, that's very good. Oh my gosh, now I think we're in the desert of Morocco, right?
The Sahara Desert. Have you ever been to the Sahara Desert?
Not yet, but I'm going later this year.
I had to take this picture because it reminds me of a movie set when they're trying to picture, the Sahara Desert and the camels and all that sort of thing. To me, it looks like a typical oasis.
Oh my gosh, it does. And that's exactly what it is. And then you see up there, and you're thinking of like Raiders of the Lost Ark, or I don't know, one of those adventure Indiana Jones movies or something.
Right.
That they're trying to get away. But there is your oasis. But it's real. But it's not just a fictional oasis.
It was real.
Yeah.
And I just took this picture so you could actually see how big the Sahara Desert is. It's huge. And we almost got lost, I have to tell you. We missed the sign, to get to the spot where we were having a party, and you'll see these in the next few pictures. Viking had actually put this whole thing together, brought the singers here, and so that we could enjoy the African music. If you can see, we were just actually we were in a park.
Okay.
Some people climbed that. I did not.
Right. Yeah.
But these were some of the entertainers, and I think on the next slide you'll probably see some of the other entertainers. And then Viking had all kinds of food waiting for us. I mean, that's one thing about this trip. Everything was provided. You didn't have to do anything but enjoy.
Yeah, well, that looks fun. Was it warm? Was it hot there?
It was hot in this particular area. I think it was over 100 degrees.
Oh, okay.
When we went into Africa. Some of the hottest spots were in India when we were there.
Okay.
With the high humidity.
Oh, well, we're going on to the reef. Now we're all the way to the coral reef of Australia. Wow, okay, we've gone quite a ways from Panama to Australia now. All right.
So the coral reef is a place that I always wanted to go. And if I hadn't have gone on this world tour, let me tell you, I would have taken a special trip just to go. I mean, it's one of the biggest coral reefs in the world, and the beautiful, just beautiful. So you'll see on here they have a pontoon, and that's in the area here, right where you can scuba dive. Yes. A lot of people scuba dived. Yes.
Is that float out there, or it
stays there?
Okay, but then the boats come in.
And the boats come in, and then we had our boat, like this boat here. It's connected to that pontoon all day. So once we go through our glass bottom tour, we get on this boat, and then you go in and you have a buffet lunch, and you wander around, and
I see people out there enjoying the sun deck and swimming. So wow. So the coral reef, I mean, I don't know how big it is, but it's like very big, a lot of miles, right?
A lot of miles. I'm trying to see here. It's I didn't write down exactly how big it is, but it is the biggest in the world. It's the largest coral reef system on the planet, actually.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Then this was the boat where you went on the glass bottom boat.
Right, and this the bottom part of it is under the water, so that when you're looking out, you can take pictures. I felt that I couldn't take as good pictures as those that were doing the scuba diving.
That's what I was going to ask about scuba diving. So people who wanted to scuba dive could go.
Yes.
Well, thank you again for coming and being here today. I really appreciate it. And we'll be right back.
Someone asked me recently, what is Thrive? Thrive is a group in the village that seeks to inspire quality living in every chapter of our lives. They asked, how do you do that? We bring people together and promote themes such as kindness, positivity, joyfulness, resilience, and mindfulness in a complex world, as these behaviors enhance wellness and increase cognitive and physical health. Come thrive with us at our next event. Just RSVP by emailing us.
Well, welcome back to Senior Travel Adventures. And I'd like to introduce you to my guest today, which her name is Pat Hager, and she is an award-winning travel expert who dedicates her work to enriching the lives of senior travelers like us. And Pat's got a great story. She launched My Senior Travel Buddies in 2017, and this initiative was to connect solo travelers who were seeking companions to share adventures or go on tours or go on groups. And now her Facebook group has over 18,000 members. And that's how I got to know her. Since then, she's teamed up with Monique Kefner, who's also been a guest on my show. And together they've led some group adventures, and their ongoing relationship with their travel suppliers ensure that they get these great deals and these great trips that we're going to talk about. So I've begun collaborating with them, and that's why I wanted to have Pat on the show today to talk about one of her recent adventures. So thank you, Pat, for joining me today.
Oh, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
No problem at all. Well, you had something recently. You became a widow not that long ago, and you went on your first basically solo trip as a widow, and you went on a gourmet cooking trip, which is on my list because everybody hears me talk about my list, but that is definitely on my list. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. So first of all, I was scared to death to even get on the plane, and thinking to myself, what are you doing, Pat? And so after getting over that and actually arriving in Florence to take the tour, I met up with a wonderful group of people that we had already booked on this tour. And so when we got to the hotel, we were going to be together for 7 days at the same hotel. It's called a spoke and wheel tour. So that means that you stay in the same place, but then you go on different excursions. And of course, this tour was called Gourmet Tuscany. So you know that it's a cooking and also a wine tour. Oh, that's terrible. So
I love food and wine.
yeah, don't we all? So each day we went on a different tour, and one of my favorites was called the Farm to Table tour, so something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, and we went on to a farmhouse as a group and picked the vegetables right from the farm and chopped and made pasta with a pasta making machine. And actually, it was a 4-hour deal because there was so much involved. And we were so happy when we received our food, our pasta, all paired with wine, of course. And then
Well, I have a picture here, Pat, that
Okay.
I'm of a group with a lot of wine glasses. That
Oh, yeah.
looks
Oh, you
like a lot
think?
of wine
Yeah.
glasses.
Yeah. So it was kind of fun. And at the end, we made an Italian dessert called tiramisu, and I'm sure a lot of people know about that. But we made our own, and we ate our own, and it was fabulous.
Oh, that prosciutto looks pretty good. So it sounds like you had a fabulous time,
Oh,
and
it was.
it's and it probably once you got started, all that fear kind of faded away, right?
Oh, and almost immediately. Honestly, once I met everybody, that fear was gone, and I just wanted to concentrate on what we were going to do. The tour itself was very inclusive. We did some art excursions too, but it was mostly cuisine, food, wine, and we also went to an olive oil farm.
Oh, how
And
fun is that?
well, it was fun because we didn't know there were so many different kinds of olive oil that could be, the bread can be dipped in it, and of course you have to have the accompanying wine. It was excellent. We enjoyed it.
That sounds great. So did you get to see Florence or anything, or you just basically stayed in Tuscany and it was more, was there any outside type excursions with that?
Well, we actually went to Florence first.
Okay.
Not on the tour itself, that was outside of the tour, but many of us came into Florence first because that's where our gateway city, where we landed.
Mhm.
And I went to see the Uffizi, which I had wanted to see forever. And we went on an excursion with an art historian. So
Oh, how wonderful.
it was 4.5 hours of wonderful. So
I was fortunate to be able to actually go there myself it's been quite a while now, but that was it's spectacular, and just Florence itself. I mean, that's a whole nother trip we could talk about for hours.
Yes, exactly. And that's why we did not do that. This was an immersive experience into the wine country region. And it
Got
reminded
it.
me very much of where our wine country is here, not close by in Temecula Valley.
Yeah, yeah. But you didn't stop there. You just kept going. Then you got on a 3-day river cruise. So tell
Right.
me a little bit about that.
Sure. I had to fly from Florence to Vienna on Austrian Airways, which was wonderful because they serve chocolate. And I
Oh,
like that on a 20-minute flight. Pretty good. Practically. But I got into the city of Vienna and stayed there 3 days before I got on the river cruise because I had not been in Vienna in very many years. So that was excellent. But I had always wanted to do a river cruise. And when my husband was alive, we had planned on one, but we never did make it. So I decided to do this on my own. It was only 3 days, starting in Vienna and we went down the Danube to Melk, which is an abbey next to Salzburg. And we went through the Melk Abbey. It was the, I believe it was the wedding place of the Maria and the Baron von Trapp.
Okay.
It was, and it was beautiful. But it was a tour that we took off of the ship, and everything is walking. So because it's right there.
Right.
One of the things we did was we went to Bratislava in Slovenia, and that is a medieval town that's right there. I mean, you get off the boat and walk, and you're there within 5 minutes, right into the main square. There were a lot of remnants of the communist country with the buildings that were very square and stark, but most of it was the medieval pathways and beautiful, beautiful buildings and some funny things too. So there was, yeah, for instance, little performances in the town square and that.
Oh, right,
Very
right.
cute.
What was your what would you say on your ship on the cruise? What was your highlight?
The highlight, I actually have it in a little video. I had a panoramic stateroom, which most of them are. That's 11 feet of glass,
Wow.
sliding door. And which you can open and get some fresh air if you want to. But I woke up about 8 o'clock the first morning and I kept the curtains open, and I just lifted my head 2 inches and saw one of the Viking ships go by right in front of me, and a church and some beautiful little villages. I didn't even have my coffee yet, for goodness. And it was fabulous. The room appointments were beautiful. The ship itself is fairly new. It's called the Avalon View, and very sophisticated, very all of it is in a very modern style, which is
Right.
very open, so that you could see from one end of the ship to the other.
That's interesting. You know, I was really surprised on my recent river cruise how many different ships and companies there are that do this.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
There's a lot, and you know, and it's also a little bit disconcerting when you open your drapes though, and there's another ship right next to you,
yes.
and you're looking
They
in their
tell you.
window.
That's the first thing they tell you when you get there. On your little orientation, the cruise director said, "Be sure you're not in your underwear."
or
open
or
up,
worse,
or
right?
worse. And when you open up your drapes.
We
Okay.
went through 13 locks,
Oh,
and
nice.
that was very, I filmed a lot of that because it was very interesting. I had not had that experience, but the wall of the lock is like feet out your window.
Right.
And you know, the first night that we went through the first one, people were hanging out their windows against the rules.
Yes.
Trying to touch the walls.
Yeah, right.
But you know, not a good idea.
No.
But it was very interesting, and in fact, I'm going to be showing some of this on the show. So I'm gonna have a river cruise episode, and your segment's going to be on my river cruise episode.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so did you find though too that one thing I noticed is that these ships, they do come right into the cities, and that you're within 5 minutes you're actually in history, hundreds of year old history and buildings, and that's one of the things that I was really surprised about on my cruise.
Well, the thing is, you're really immersed. You get into that, you get into the dock, and you are literally right there. And you don't have to wait for an excursion, and just hop off the ship.
Right.
And go where you think you would like to go. On I think it was on one of the little, I can't remember the city that I was in, but I got lost because there are so many little alleyways, and I was trying to find one of the village church, and everything was in German, so I don't speak German or read German. So got lost, and that was the best time because I liked
Right.
lost.
Yeah, and you know what this is a little tip for my listeners and my viewers is I use Google Maps and I set a parking pin where the ship is. So that I always know that if I really have to, I can go and it'll take me where it thinks my car is parked, but it's actually and I did it with also in the city tours with the buses, where the bus pickups were. Because I'm like you, I like to go wander around and you kind of get lost, but then you're like, okay, I got to get back to where the ship or the pickup point is. And so my little tip to everyone is place that parking pin on your Google map and you'll always be able to get back to where you started.
Right. That is so true.
Yep. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. And I'm excited, as I told the audience earlier on that, we're collaborating and I'm hoping to actually curate a nice tour that some of my audience might be interested in the future. So, and
Wow.
I'm, of course, we're on the Facebook page now and we have a great audience there. So thank you so much for joining me
Oh,
today,
you're
Pat.
quite welcome. I enjoyed it.
And I am looking forward to what comes in the future.
Oh, me too, always. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. In our backyard this month is the Oktoberfest in Huntington Beach, the Original Lobster Festival in Fountain Valley, the San Juan Capistrano Greek Festival, and if you want to go a little bit further, the third annual Great Taste of Europa in Temecula. Have a great In Our Backyard this month. Thank you so much for joining me today on Senior Travel Adventures. It is such fun to do this show. And if you have a trip that you'd like to share with us, please be sure to send it to me. The email will be up on your screen, and maybe we'll see you on the show. So have a great day.